I've got a printed copy of questions. I'm going to do my best to answer all the ones that you are asking. Are we going to close schools in the Northern Territory? If not, why? That is a great question. I do get that quite a lot. We want to make sure parents have choice, and we are listening to our teachers. Our parents know their kids, they know their home, they know the school, and we're letting them make a decision about whether their kids go to school or not. Teachers are a bit worried about their health at the moment. I think we all are, to be honest. So we've listened to them as well. So term will run out as it normally does, but the last week of term will be essentially a pupil-free day where we won't turn children away. If you need to drop your kids off, you can. So still available for schools, but pupil-free, so teachers can do the work preparing for term 2. Education is compulsory. We want our kids to learn, so start of term 2, we want to make it flexible. If you want to teach your kids at home, we're all on board. We'll give you the materials. If you want your kids to go to school, we'll look after them, and we'll put in place all the protections teachers need so that they are safe in the classroom. We want our teachers to be looked after, absolutely. Why are we still letting people in from interstate? We have secured the borders. We have freedom of movement that we must allow across our borders. So I can't just put a hard wall up. So it can't be a wall, it's more like a gate. But what we're saying is if you enter the territory, you must isolate for 14 days. And I expect you to have a 14-day isolation plan. Don't count me to look after you, you've got to look after yourself. If you come to the territory, we expect you to isolate for 14 days, and we're going to have your plan, and we're going to check up on you and make sure you are. There are some exemptions, essential workers, freight, etc. Though they have to comply with strict protocols. So you can't just enter, you have to have a clear plan about how you're entering, why you're entering, and how you're keeping people safe. So there's no free entry. Every entry to the territory comes with a condition. So either 14 days isolation or strict protocols. So community safety must come first. The police and the Defence Force are on our borders. They know my instructions and they will make sure you are safe. When will this be over? I'd love to give you a hard date. I'm working to a 6-month window. The Prime Minister's working to a 6-month window. I'm confident we'll be able to get it all done within 6 months. That's what we're trying to do. And for me, everything we're doing, every measure we're taking, yes, it's about saving lives, but it's also got to be sustainable across 6 months. This is not going to be a quick fix, unfortunately. So it's going to be a long haul, and I hope you're with me for the distance. Do sole traders get any of the government assistance that's currently on offer? So there's, I guess there's 2 governments right now who are throwing out assistance, myself and the Australian government. There is stuff, there's more probably considered at the moment under the Australian government schemes, but I am working on something right now that'll be more specific to sole traders, and I get that a lot of you have lost your businesses overnight, whether it's the borders, tourism, just the general corona thing. I get it, and we're looking at what we can do for sole traders. Why aren't we putting everyone that comes into the territory into the IMPEX facility? That's a good question. I do get that a lot. We've got that facility set up so that we can quarantine sick people, and we're going to have medical facilities there. So it's got a very specific purpose now for the territory government about how we handle what might be coming our way. So I think you'll appreciate we've got to prepare, and in many ways we've got to prepare for the worst, and IMPEX Workers Village is part of our plans for the worst. I expect people to quarantine at home for 14 days. And we will do spot checks. We are doing spot checks. I assure you right now, we are doing spot checks. I expect compliance, and it comes with a $62,800 fine if you're not complying. We are serious about this. This is about people's health. This is about people's lives, and we expect you to comply with the 14-day isolation. What's happening with FIFO workers? Are they allowed to go into remote communities? Well, no. To the second bit. To the first bit, we have got some things in the territory we need to keep operating. And they have to enter, if they're allowed to enter, under strict protocols. And they have to declare those strict protocols in advance, sign up to those strict protocols. There's no free entry here. So I'll give you one example. There is a work site that has 13 specialist workers come in. They've signed up to a plan where those 13 specialist workers will be isolated on site, and they won't even work with the other workers. It's all going to be an isolated, protected ecosystem. So I expect a plan, and I expect you to comply with our strict protocols. Are we going to go into a complete lockdown? I don't know. I do know I'll do whatever it takes, and if it's a lockdown that does it, it's a lockdown that we will do. I am worried about what's happening down south. I am extremely worried about what's happening overseas. We have taken some pretty tough measures, and we are now watching carefully to see what impact that they have made and about whether we need to go further. Our measures do rely on people buying in, on Territorians, on Australians complying. And if we don't see compliance, we will have to go tougher. And if we don't see that curve flatten, we will have to go tougher. I think what I want you to know is that I'm prepared to do it, the Prime Minister's prepared to do it, everyone is prepared to make that tough decision if we have to do it, but we'll do it on the medical advice. There's people out there who are running businesses. I know that you're terrified about what might come next, but you also get that we have to save lives. I want you to know that if I make that decision, it is based on the medical advice and it is based on saving lives. What are we doing to assist international students? I do love our international students. This has been actually a priority of us this term. We've significantly grown the number of international students in the Northern Territory, and I reckon it's pretty tough for you right now. I'm working on ways that we might be able to help you, because I realise that with the schemes that have been announced, mainly by the Australian government in terms of New Start and other things, you don't qualify, you don't meet it. And I am worried about you. We want you. You've been good for us. We want to be good for you. So I am working on how we might be able to help you. I haven't got an answer tonight, but I just want you to know that I know that you're out there and you're struggling. What are you doing to keep remote communities safe? We probably have some of the most vulnerable people in the country right now living on our remote communities, and we get that. They asked us to make sure that they were safe, and we get that, and we will do that. And we have essentially built a wall, protection around those remote communities. We're saying you're only allowed in if you're an essential service, we supply and maintain essential services, and even then you have to go through a strict protocol. You have to sign stat decks. It's a very full-on process. We're doing that to make sure that you still get all the help you need while we are looking after you, that you get your food, you get your medical services. We're going to make sure that you are absolutely looked after right now. We absolutely get that you are probably the most vulnerable to the coronavirus, and we will keep you safe. I thought our borders are closed, but we keep letting people in. Why are we doing this? I think I touched on this a bit earlier, but we essentially are required under the Self-Government Act and under the Constitution to allow freedom of movement, but what we can do is control that movement. So you're only allowed in if you agree to protect Territorians. If you'll also do whatever it takes to keep Territorians safe. So 14-day isolation, or essentially a strict set of protocols. If you're a truck driver bringing in freight, or essentially essential worker, you have to agree to behave in a certain way while you are here to make sure Territorians are safe. Am I allowed to mountain bike or go to outdoor boot camps? I want you to stay sane. So we'll only get through this for the next 6 months if you stay sane. So you can go I went for a walk this afternoon. You can go for a walk. The outdoor boot camps, just not too many people, no more than 10, and you can absolutely mountain bike. I think mountain biking is a good example of social distancing. Same way going out and tinning, social distancing. So we are asking you to be mindful of others, be respectful of others, and I think there's ways of exercising where you can absolutely do that. So all on board. Oh no, I can't do this one. This is a sledge of the Prime Minister. I've got to tell you right now, in terms of chairing the National Cabinet and the leadership he's showing, I reckon he's doing as good a job as he can under the circumstances. This is pretty tough right now, what the country is going through. And every Premier, every Chief Minister, the Prime Minister, we've all bought in. It's a bipartisan National Cabinet. There's Labor on there, there's Liberals on there. We want to look after every Australian. I want to look after every Territorian. And I'll work with whoever I have to work with to make sure that happens. And the Prime Minister has made it very clear that he'll work with everybody. And I absolutely believe his heart's in the right place. And I absolutely believe he's making the best decisions he can. It's just a tough time. And we won't get everything right. But right now I'm on Team Australia and I'm backing the Prime Minister. Well, thank you. This is a nice one. When are you and your wife due to have a baby? What are you most looking forward to? It's due in, I think, less than 2 weeks. Time is travelling in a strange way at the moment. and it's almost very surreal to sit here and work through coronavirus questions and then come home, and I'm an extremely lucky guy. I've got an amazing wife. She's a brilliant mum already, and I am absolutely looking forward to holding the new baby. We don't know the gender, boy, girl, no idea. I just can't wait to meet him or her.